phrases like, in order to save our country from the terrorists, we should make sure that refugees have extra screening and background checks before they come into the country. And from hearing announcements about President Trump's travel ban, I found that most people don't truly understand the struggles that refugees already go through to get into the country. Today, I plan on informing you of how hard it is for refugees to become an American resident and also give you guys a few statistics about refugees. It's important that Americans, and especially the younger generation, understand how rigorous this process actually is and become informed about this topic so that you can develop your own opinions based off of a summary of information. Though I'm not a refugee and I haven't experienced the process or things that they go through, I've done an abundance of research about this process. With all that being said, today I'm going to inform you about the American refugee vetting process, as well as give you some statistics in regards to refugees. So here's how the process works. Many people don't realize that it takes quite a long time for refugees and immigrants to become an American citizen. And they also don't realize just what these people go through in order to become one. So there are about 7 long steps in this process. According to state.gov, here's the process. The first step is for refugees to apply for refugee resettlement. However, in most cases, the UNHCR, or the UN Refugee Agency, refers refugees and collects documentation and information on them. Once this is done, the information is sent to the RSC, or the Resettlement Support Center. At the center, they give an in-depth interview with the refugee, verify data, and send information to U.S. agencies for background check. And also enter his or her documentation into RAPS, or better known as Worldwide Refugee Admission Processing System. This leads me into the second step. According to USCIS.gov, in this step, 9 or more U.S. national security agencies start screening the refugee using the information that was sent to them. Screening includes checking for security threats, checks about denied visas, intelligence information and security, and child support enforcement information, terrorist concerns, immigration or criminal violations. And get this, if you're a Syrian refugee, then DHS has an extra enhanced review. After all the extremely long screening comes the third step. State.gov states that in the third step, DHS reviews the screening results, conducts another interview with the refugee in their host country, and checks any form of records collected in areas of conflict. More interviews are given when new information is brought to the surface. If there are any inconsistencies, the case is put on hold until it's resolved. Once the interviews and checks are done, the decision is sent into RAPS. The fourth step is where biometric security checks are given, such as fingerprints, watch list information, previous immigration encounters in the U.S. and overseas, as well as other things. Cases that have any problematic results are denied. If not, the process goes on to step 5. The fifth step is where refugees complete a class to learn about American culture and are given a medical check to identify any diseases of public health significance. The sixth step is where representatives from 9 of the resettlement agencies meet to decide where to relocate the refugees, and then the refugees are told where to go. The IOM, or the International Organization for Migration, books travel for the refugees. However, before they come into America, they're subject to screening from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, as well as the Transportation Security Administration Secure Flight Program. Refugees that have no security problems continue on their way to America. This leads me into the last and final step. The refugees arrive in America and begin the process of settling into their new communities. As you can see, refugees go through a ton in order to become an American resident. Now that you know what a summarized version of the refugee processing is, here's a few statistics on the refugees that come into the country. According to PewResearch.org, in 2016, 85 refugees were brought into America. Of the 85,000, 44% were Christian, 46% were Muslim, and 10% were members of other faiths. More than 3,000 refugees were Buddhist, more than 2,000 were Hindu, and about 449 were atheist or had no religious affiliation. Believe it or not, refugees make up a small percentage, like 1 in 10, of the roughly 1 million immigrants granted residency in America. Although 85,000 were granted a home in the U.S., there's still about 21.3 million refugees in all, and over half are under the age of 18. In the end, what I hope you all take away from my speech is how many steps are involved in the American vetting process and the types of refugees that enter our country. I hope you all have learned about the struggles refugees have to go through in order to come to America. At this point, I hope you all understand that by understanding the vetting process and taking a look at what refugees encounter, you guys, aka the younger generation, can form your own opinions and judgments about this debatable topic, especially in current times. Thank you.